Friends, the biggest enemy in life is not the outside world. It's the fear that hides within us. That same fear holds us back, makes us feel small, and builds invisible walls on the path to our success. Norman Vincent Peale says that until you recognize your fear and face it, you can never experience true freedom. Fear is something that breaks you from the inside, but once you learn to overcome it, that same fear becomes the reason for your strength. In his book, Norman explains that fear is never born out of reality. It is born out of imagination. We imagine that something bad will happen, and that thought itself creates fear. But the truth is, most of the things we fear are just creations of our own minds. He says that whenever you feel afraid, don't hold it inside and speak it out. Write it down, and you'll see that it slowly starts to fade, because fear grows in the dark and disappears in the light. There's a story in the book about a man who constantly feared that his business would collapse. Every day he lived in that anxiety, even though his business was doing perfectly well. Norman told him, instead of being afraid, put your faith in God. Every morning, repeat to yourself, my business will grow because God is with me. The man began repeating those words daily, and within a few weeks, his fear vanished completely. In fact, his business began to grow faster than ever because his fear was replaced with faith. Norman teaches us that the simplest and most powerful way to defeat fear is through faith. When you truly believe that God is with you, you stop being afraid of anything. Fear lives only where faith is weak. Once you strengthen your faith, no storm in this world can bring you down. Norman says that prayer is the greatest medicine for fear. When you speak to God sincerely, you receive a calmness that washes away every ounce of fear. Now let's talk about self-confidence, because it's the key that unlocks every closed door. Norman says that confidence isn't magic, it's a habit. Just like breathing, you need to make confidence a daily practice. Every morning, tell yourself, I'm capable, I'm strong, and I can achieve whatever I set my heart on. These words might sound simple, but their impact is powerful. The more you repeat them, the more your subconscious mind starts to believe them. And once your mind believes something to be true, it begins to turn it into reality. In the book, Norman writes one of his most famous lines: believe in yourself. Have faith in your abilities, because if you don't believe in yourself, you have nothing. But if you do, no power in the world can stop you. He says a person is never truly defeated until they decide to give up on themselves. Another beautiful concept explained in the book is peace of mind. In today's world, people have everything in money, fame, success, yet they lack inner peace. Norman says that if you want to calm your mind, you must first cleanse it of negative thoughts. Anger, jealousy, hatred, and worry, and these four emotions are poison for the mind. Once you free yourself from them, peace naturally begins to flow within you. He advises that whenever your mind feels restless, stay silent for a moment, look within yourself, take a deep breath, and have a quiet conversation with your soul. Ask yourself, am I really afraid of this situation, or is my mind just playing tricks on me? The moment you start questioning your fear, the answers begin to rise from within. Slowly, you'll feel your mind settle and a strange, soothing peace will take over. Norman also says that when you hate someone, that hatred spreads through your heart like poison. But when you forgive, your heart becomes light. Forgiveness, he says, is not a weakness. It's the greatest strength, because when you forgive someone, you are actually setting yourself free. In the book, he shares a short but powerful prayer. I believe in myself because I believe in God who created me. This single line contains the essence of life. When you truly believe that you are God's creation, how can you ever see yourself as weak? God didn't create you to live in fear. He created you to shine. Norman says that when you face a problem, don't let it overpower you. Instead, tell it, you are smaller than me because I carry God's strength within me. When you repeat this belief, your fear and weakness begin to disappear, one layer at a time. The second part of this book teaches one powerful truth. The real way to conquer fear is through faith and positive thinking. When you trust God in every situation, when you see every failure as a lesson, and when you find even the tiniest light in the darkest of times, you begin to feel a new kind of strength awakening inside you. Friends, at some point in your life, you must have felt that when your inner confidence breaks, the whole world starts to seem against you. When fear, doubt, and negativity take over your heart, everything begins to feel impossible. But the moment you spark even a small ray of hope within yourself, and when you tell yourself, I can do this, that's when everything starts to change. That's the magic of the book, The Power of Positive Thinking. A masterpiece that teaches us how our thoughts shape our reality, and when our mindset changes, even destiny bends in our favor. The author, Norman Vincent Peale, begins this book with a deeply powerful truth. He says that as long as a person believes he is a loser, no power in the world can make him win. But the moment he believes he is a winner, nothing in the world can bring him down. He explains that positive thinking isn't just an emotion, it's a way of life. Because when you learn to see good even in difficult situations, your heart grows stronger and your mind becomes calmer. This book teaches that through faith, hope, and prayer, a person can completely change the direction of their life. Norman says that every morning when you wake up and tell yourself today is going to be a good day, your brain begins to function in that direction. It's like programming your own mind. If you believe that everything will go wrong today, it really will. But if you choose to think that something good will definitely happen, your body, your mind, and your environment start aligning with that belief. That's why the book emphasizes you become what you think, you achieve what you believe, and you lose only when you let fear rule your mind. There's a very touching example in the book. A man kept saying again and again, I think I'm sick. Slowly, his body began to fall ill, even though doctors said there was nothing wrong with him. But because he had convinced his mind that he was sick, his body started responding to that thought. Norman wanted to show us that the human mind is so powerful that it can even alter the body. If you see yourself as weak, your body will tire. But if you say, I am strong, you'll feel an unexpected surge of energy rise within you. Norman also talks deeply about faith in God. He says the greatest source of positive thinking is faith. When you truly believe that God is with you, fear disappears. Because once you realize you're not alone, you gain the strength to face any challenge. Yeah, he says prayer isn't just a collection of words. It's a mental force that fills you with hope. When you pray from the heart for something you truly need, your mind starts finding the path toward that solution. Now imagine when you start believing, I can do it, I am good enough, and I matter in this world. Your confidence begins to grow so powerfully that even the toughest goals start feeling possible. Norman explains that you must fill your heart and mind with good thoughts because negativity acts like poison. If you keep drowning in fear, anger, jealousy, or hatred, your mind weakens and a weak mind can never create a great life. At one point in the book, Norman writes that if you truly want to change your life, start by changing your thoughts. Just like a farmer reaps only the crop from the seeds he plants, your thoughts are the seeds of your life. If you plant good thoughts, you'll harvest success. But if you let doubt and fear dominate your mind, your life will mirror that negativity. As Norman beautifully says, change your thoughts and you change your world. Now you might ask, can thinking alone really change everything? Norman answers, yes, but only when thought is combined with faith. If you simply say, I will win, but deep inside you're still afraid, that thought will have no power. You must believe it with your whole heart and mind. And once you do, every step you take begins to move in the direction where success is already waiting for you. The book also tells a story about a man who had completely given up on life. He felt like everything was over for him. But Norman told him only one thing: remove the fear from your heart and feel the presence of God within you. That man slowly began to change his thoughts, and within a few months, His entire life transformed. He became successful, found happiness, and experienced a peace he had never known before. Through all these stories and lessons, Norman teaches us that the biggest change we need in life doesn't come from outside, it comes from within. If we free ourselves from negativity, we can achieve anything that seems impossible today. Every morning, when you look in the mirror, smile and tell yourself, I can do it. I am worthy. God is with me. That single thought can rewrite the story of your destiny.